to the banging misses and videos. While I'm with my freak like we up in the freak shows. Hit you with this shit, make you feel it all in your toes. Hot shh, got all my people in red clothes. Dialing my metaphors when I formulate my flows. If you don't know, you're messing with lyrical player pros like that.
Wanna party with me?
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Please welcome to another edition of the Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. We're doing an early morning Wednesday special. I will be back tonight at 7:30 with a special edition. But before we get started, please welcome my special guest, Alexis Robinson, a U.S. gold medalist who has transitioned into an entrepreneur and founder of ATO. Robinson is known as the Trailblazer, proud husband, and father. So let's just welcome to the Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. Big shout out to Isaiah for connecting us that Wednesday when I came out. You got a lot of great things going on. Of course, you have been on podcasts before. You are a businessman, but you have an extraordinary life from U.S. gold medalist, entrepreneur. A lot of great, impressive resume. So how did all this come about? Take us behind the scene on who is Alexis Robinson.
Well, before I do anything, anytime I'm speaking with anybody, I always give glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I honor him in everything that I do. I think that he knew the plan that he had for me well before anybody ever knew what my name was. But to go back, if you look at it, both my parents were in the military, both college graduates. You know, my mom was a respiratory therapist. My dad had a degree, had 2 bachelor's degree. I think he had a master's as well. So as far as like on paper, you know, the success was supposed to be there. My father was a Division I hopeful, but ended up being a Division II basketball player at Humboldt State University because my kid's sister was born up in Humboldt County, so he was there. But got to go to open gym with the likes of Dwayne Wade and some other guys like that when I was just a young dude. So my mom ran track. So the athletics, as far as that piece goes, God just blessed me with some good genetics. We had the right parents. I think that what's interesting is once you get into a space where you have the right genetics, you need the right people in your corner, and you also need the right work ethic to get to where I ended up getting to, running for Team USA, playing college sports, being an inch away from being a professional, all that type of stuff. You need the right people. So I guess that right there, I had, came the good with the bad with my childhood, but God always had a plan and led me to where I was at. I met my wife in college, and becoming an entrepreneur, I knew I didn't want to be nobody's employee. So I was working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and then the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, I was already part-time doing what I'm doing inside of the financial services industry. But when they hit, they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're letting everybody go. I was actually just talking to a couple of my buddies that I used to work with out there, and they were talking, oh, yeah, I got let go at that same time. I just never got brought back. They asked some people to come back, some people didn't. But I just chose to continue to be an entrepreneur, and God has made the provision the entire time.
Oh yeah, and that's awesome. But then making that transition from where you were to you are today, and never look back but move forward. And it's all about stepping out on faith. Because what it tells us, faith without works is dead. So if you have all the faith but you're not putting in the work, it's dead. But I like how you press your way through, kept going on, kept striving. Was the average person that just came back in and said, it's tough out here. I got this stuff going on. And does that weigh on the mind of entrepreneurs when they allow that anxiety to come in? When I say anxiety come in, where, okay, bills, things of that nature coming in, food, gas, all this stuff weighs in on them, where they just, they just cave in and go back. Have you ever dealt with individuals like that who, I know it's a mental weak state.
So the thing about it is, all of us put our faith or our foundation on something, right?
Right.
Like you could choose faith or you could choose fear, right? And so I've always chosen faith, right? Faith and fear the only thing that's different is the choice that you make of what you focus on, or whatever it is that's occupying your time, if you will, right? Like, I mean, uh, in the book that I read, it's a famous one. It's a bestseller called the Bible. In the book that I read, he talked about if he dresses the lilies, if he feeds the birds, if he does all that stuff, aren't you going to be taken care of, knowing that you're made in His image? So I think that you have a choice every day. When you wake up, like, are you going to choose to look at your bank account and choose to be fearful of what's to come next, or are you going to choose to look in the Bible and choose to be faithful? Because God could either give you seed or give you bread, right? Seed is what grows the bread. Bread is what allows you to continue to survive. But if He gives you seed because you're a sower, you'll continue to be able. That's where you experience abundance. And that's not even seed of just finances. Yes, our finances are good, but I'm just talking about seed of, like, okay, hey, my brother Furman, he has a podcast. Can I go and add value to him and his listeners, right? I got buddies of mine that I called this week, and they were like, hey, brother, thank you so much for calling me. I appreciate you being a brother to me. Like that, it goes above that. So God will continue to provide you seed if you put your faith in Him, if you do your tithes, if you become a cheerful giver. Me and my wife, it was funny. We got into this, this debate, but she ended up being right. It's so funny because when you have a praying wife, so much happens where you're like, man, is that what God said? And it's like, yeah, that's what God said. But I'm thankful, man. I choose faith is really what it is. And yeah, you deal with people that choose fear, but you show them the example of you choosing faith, and then you kind of explain it to them. And if they choose to continue to listen, then hey.
Yeah. And we know that it comes from which Scripture tells us, they said, my people destroyed for lack of knowledge because they rejected it. And we know a lot of individuals dealt with their parent, thank God for our parents, but they was only pass on information that was passed on to them, where you go to school, be on the job for 30 plus some years, get a retirement, and they think they got you living a good life. But we know that flabbergasted. But a lot of people go through life, Alexis, not happy, miserable, knowing that they want to do extraordinary things, but then they are afraid. First of all, they're afraid what other people think. That's another thing. And of course, they're afraid when it comes to their finances. So that's exactly what goes on.
Correct. No, 100%. I agree with you.
And so that's what drives people. So what really keeps you going? What really keeps you going? What keeps people motivated? What can we do to help them be motivated? What keep them being inspired?
That's a funny question. I think that discipline far outweighs motivation, because motivation is futile. Like I got the apps. I got I got a motivation app. I got like this app called like Pep Talk, and like it's cool, man. I suppose, but like really, Tony Robbins can say whatever he wants. Eric Thomas can say whatever he wants. Inky Johnson can say whatever he wants. Look at Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, like all these people, right? They can all say whatever they want on these videos, but it doesn't matter if you don't put it into action.
That's it.
So I think the thing about it is discipline is pain, but also like a mediocre life is pain, right? So you have to choose which pain you want. Those that chose discipline as pain long term, as they continue to what Eric Thomas called habit stack, and just continue to stay in that discipline, those are the people that you see success. And by the way, I didn't always have the discipline of, hey, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to go grind, right? Not everybody has that, but I chose, more than anything above everything else, like, hey, if I have a wife, I have kids, and I got a family that's counting on me. Long term, my vision is to have a compound. What are the things that I need to do today as a 28-year-old to make sure that as a 40-year-old, nobody in my family ever has to want for anything ever again? That's that's really what it is. And yeah, that's the long-term vision, but that's just, hey, every day, get up, discipline, discipline, discipline. And like I said, you see me right now. It's 10 a.m. I mean, I've been in this suit probably for the last couple of hours. I've been, doing things around my house or whatever. But like, this is my jersey. I wear this every day. It doesn't matter what it is. I got, a bunch of different suits, a bunch of different ties. You'll be hard pressed to not catch me in something like this. But that's
Right.
that's part of the discipline. So
Hey, that is all part of it, and it's all about being who you already envision to be. Like you already got it in your head, but now I have to bring it to fruition. Like you said, you mentioned Eric Thompson and all that. Yeah, these guys, they put out great information, but you don't take up the information, apply it to your life, it's just in vain. And that's what people get caught up. They get all that emotion, that adrenaline coming in, but then when it's time to be a beast, when it's time to be a lion, they just go ahead and cave on in. One, they allow self get back in the way. And that would mess a lot of us up. We get self in the way too much instead of getting self out the way, because self could set us up for a great failure. But it's all about taking a hold of it. That's what it's all about. Because what it is, Alexis, some individuals, they want to be successful, but they're not willing to get out their comfort zone
right,
to
100%.
do it.
Yep. I agree with you. Yeah, I think they say there's no growth in comfort, right? You if you're comfortable, then you stay where you're at. I think the most interesting statistic about that. Right before I got on here, I was listening. Every month as a company, we do a book of the month. This month is the book Belichick, where this guy went and basically interviewed hundreds of people to find out about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick didn't have anything to do with the book, but it's interesting because a lot of people, after they get done with school, college, I think it's something like 90% of Americans don't ever read another book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about that is 10% of Americans are what makes up the wealth of this country. So there's the 10% that makes up the wealth, and there's 90% that don't read books. There's a correlation between those two things. People are comfortable with who they are and what they do, and they, I couldn't imagine, man, going and punching a card at like Sam's Club or Walmart or Costco, wherever else for the rest of my life. Like that, for me, I don't understand how people do that. But at the same time, I'm not those people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And we know a lot, like I say, it comes from the mindset. We was programmed to trust in something, and we was never programmed to believe in our own abilities and what God gave us. Because the Bible tells us that our gift shall make room for us and bring for great men. And we know that in Deuteronomy 8:18, the Bible said that God said, I give you the power to get wealth. In Deuteronomy 8:18. So, okay, God gives you the power, He gives you the mindset, He gives you the resources, He gives you the ideals. That means you have to put it out there in order to see it come. But if you don't do anything with it, it's like that seed. If you're not planting that seed, you're just holding that seed, you're not gonna get nothing in return.
That's correct.
And that's what a lot of us do. We hold on to that seed because of one, allow fear to come in, or allow outside influences to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you was a child. When you was a child, we had these great imaginations, these wild imaginations. But then as we got older, we allowed circumstances, we allowed individuals to damper down our imagination.
Right.
So we worry about, what they gonna think, what they gonna say if I do this. But a lot of times people do things to please other people.
Right.
But deep down inside, Alexis, they're not happy within themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think what's interesting about that is you talked about God giving you the ability to create. Well, there's only one creature on this earth that was made in God's image, and that's us.
Right.
And what's interesting about that, I bring that up with a lot of people, and I ask them, okay, if we're made in God's image, how did God create the world? God created the world with His voice. So then that goes back to, you got people that are like, oh, I'm no good at this, or oh, I'm this, and I don't even like that stuff coming out of my mouth, because it's like what you say is powerful. You come into agreement with what you're saying because you were made in His image. He created the world with His words, so the words that you speak are powerful. You're supposed to speak over yourself the things that you want to see come to pass, and then you got to go pray for it, work for it, and be a good person. And it's not like that's going to gain you anything in the kingdom, but just those type of things, high character, high morals, high values, those type of things are going to allow you to persist and proceed. But like, I think so many people shoot themselves in the foot because they talk bad about themselves. Like one time somebody was like, hey, you never seem, to have any type of like, ailments, or you never seem to be sick. I tell them, I don't get sick. I speak that like, no, you'll never see me sick. I don't get sick. There is no days off. None of that stuff happens. Even if my whole house could have some type of, ailment going on, I'm not gonna get sick. My wife is like, you gonna kiss me, you're gonna get sick. I'm not gonna get sick. I'm good.
Mhm.
Right? Like that, you won't see any of that. But that's part of like, I'm like, hey, what you say and what you're doing and how you feel, all that matters. Like I don't, a lot of people they can't function right without their caffeine. I read a book it's probably been like 10 weeks. I was drinking, Celsius and other things like that. But probably 10 weeks ago, I was reading this book, Emotional Intelligence Habits. If you've never read the book, it's like a I don't know. Back in the day, there was that show, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, the teenage show or whatever. That's like your adult survival guide. If you get that book, Emotional Intelligence Habits, it's a black and gold book. It's right inside, but I won't go get it. It's a crazy book, and it talked about sleep hygiene, and it talked about how much of us drinking caffeine are killing our sleep hygiene. I tell my guys all the time now, when I see them yawning all day, I'm like, bro, you just drank a bunch of caffeine and you still yawning. Do you wonder why? Right? Like, I don't drink any caffeine right now. I've never felt this great. It's been the last 10 weeks where, obviously working out, still doing all that stuff. But it's interesting to see how much different it is when you actually rely on what God created on this earth, like UV rays outside. I come outside and sit on my porch every day in the morning, or I'll go for a walk with my dogs, just to get the UV rays. That's how I wake up now, right? And then I use blue light glasses at night to make sure I can go to sleep and my cycle is clean, right? So anyway.
Oh man, that's what's up, man. I like that. I know you mentioned that you're 28 years old. Young man, of course, ain't reached 30 yet, but to have in mind that you have at your age, we have a lot of people there in their 20s in this generation. They feel like, oh, I'm just gonna party. I got my whole life ahead of me, and not buckling down. But then when they start hitting them 30s and them 40s, like, oh man, I ain't did no my life. But you being disciplined at your age, I gotta give you a props for that, because
I appreciate
a lot of individuals nowadays, when they in their 20s, they feel like that's my partying stage. So,
I mean, I think that maybe late teens, early 20s can be your partying stage. I feel like when you get out of college, it's time to grind. It's like if you go to college. If you don't go to college, respect to you. But and maybe like I got guys on my squad right now, young dudes, no college, but they wanna go be successful. And you really don't need college to be successful. I think it's interesting because people think that piece of paper, that certificate, and this is not to hate on any college graduates or anything like that, but people think that that first piece of paper or certificate is going to get them some opportunities in life but anything that you want in life, you got to go get. So yeah, I mean, I look at it like this. I work as hard as I can now because in my 40s and 50s, I'd like to be able to have a life where I'm not having to go to a job or having to go to work. You go and you build a company now when you're in your 20s and 30s. By the time you get to your 40s and 50s, you can have anything and everything that you want.
right, that's it. Because at the end of the day, it's all about your money working for you. And as they say, money is viewed as a tool. The average person look at money to spend. But I got the book I got in my library, Think Like a Billionaire. It talks about how billionaires view money and how the average person view money. Billionaires always looking to invest. The average person always looking to spend.
Right.
Because the billionaire knows at the end of the day, it's about my money working for me, that I gain interest off what I invest in,
Right.
and live off that interest compared to just going out there, buying the latest car, TV, things of that nature, but don't get anything in return for it.
Right. Yeah, it's that's an interesting phenomenon, is how you look at money, and that's what Jesus talked about in the Bible. People will be like, "Oh, well, money is the root of all evil," right? As Christians, and it's like, No, the love of money is the root of all evil. But money is a tool. And billionaires understand this. Billionaires, some of them, even the ones that don't believe in God, actually use the principles of the Bible, which is interesting because God will bless whoever uses his principles, regardless of how they honor or glorify him. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and I honor and glorify God. I know he's going to do more for his children than he will for anybody else. We are all his children, but not everybody sees that. But all like biblical principles applied, they matter. And so money, if you see it and use it as a tool and not as what you worship, because some people worship money. When you worship money, that's when you get selfish. That's when you get into a space where you can falter or waver. That's where you get into a space where you don't talk. That's where you get into a space where everything that happens is about you, not about, the kingdom, God, or maybe your team if you have an organization. Like, I do my best to take all the credit and get it off of me. I do work hard, but it's like, God is crazy. Things that he does and the way that he's provided, the way he continued to bless my wife and I. We got beautiful babies, and we plan on having more in the future. So it's an interesting place to be in. But yeah, I agree with you. I got you.
Oh yeah, most, and also I know you are in a financial business as well. Not just, but to helping families. I know that's the main concern is helping families
Yeah.
be financially stable in the near future because we know that that's a big thing when it comes to life, losing a loved one, and don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
And we go with social media, these GoFundMe accounts and things like that. But just being better prepared. Why is it that we never looked at money that we're looking the way it is now? We just think, oh, it's all good. I'm not gonna take this stuff with me.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but never took it seriously like we're doing it now.
I think that parents, grandparents, everybody that's gone ahead of you. It's funny because most people don't know their great grandfather. If they know their great grandfather, they don't know their great great grandfather, and that's only because of the choices that they made as you were coming up. But I think our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, whoever, they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had. So, you know, some people that like you look at it like, well, how come my parents didn't? And after you turn 18, you're grown. So really, like you can decide, okay, we're gonna just keep going down this path over here that everybody in our family's ever gone down, or I'm gonna choose a different path and blaze a new trail. The thing about being a trailblazer, about setting a new path, is it's difficult. If you look at like a cornfield, right? And this is kind of how like your brain works, right? With like neurological pathways and stuff like that. But if you look at a cornfield, it is hard to walk through a cornfield if there's no trail. You gotta right? But if you go back to that same cornfield, eventually that trail, and you keep going down that same path, that it becomes a trail. All the corn is moved, it's dead. It's all about where you stepped and stuff like that, and it becomes clear. That's how it's supposed to be. Like right now, I don't think about me anymore. I think about, okay, in 6, 7, 8 generations, what are they gonna say about Haley and myself? Is there going to be a picture on the mantle of the fireplace because of the decisions that we made today to be better, to be great? And we're a long way off. Don't get it twisted. I got a lot of work to do.
Right.
But that's the way that I think. I don't think just about me today. I don't think just about my wife and I. I don't just think just about my kids and my wife. I think about the lineage and the future that I'd like to create, right? And there's certain things I watch and don't watch, but there was parts of a show called Yellowstone, like the compound that guy had. Now, all the stuff that he did illegal, I don't agree with, right? But the compound that he had, where he had a ranch, he had people that were tending to cattle and horses and all the stuff that, like, that's the vision I have for my family. And then I'll be able to build a house for each one of my kids, and if they want to go do their own thing, they have all free reign to go do their own thing. But at the same time, I'm going to be like, hey, you got a house here with your name on it anytime you want to come home. And you got 5, 10 acres. They're just yours. They're not mine. They're yours.
That's it.
that's what it is, right?
Oh yeah, it's all about building that kingdom and building your empire and being established. Before going any further, big shout out to Miss D from 3-in-1 Trinity Service here at the DFW nonprofit organization. She's in the comment session.
Yeah.
She was saying comfort zone keep you stagnant. She was saying speak discipline, read his essays, a lot of secrets and books. You have to horn your gift, well, use your gift. Sharp. Well, she big shout out to her. So, and we know it is all about discipline. Discipline above motivation. We know discipline is being consistent. We can have motivation. I be motivated right now, but in 5-10 minutes now, I'm not motivated. But you have that discipline. That discipline will keep you going when you don't feel like doing it, but you keep striving anyway because you know what your goals are. Like Rick Ross said in his book, uh, your goals don't care how you feel.
Right.
And that's what we have to. And I heard people say this all the time too. That's just how you have to sacrifice the temporary pleasures for long-term success. Because when you're building, you're not going to be able to go to these things, these functions, or just to hang out because you're working on greatness. They would take champions to be great.
Yep.
They sacrifice the temporary pleasures because they think in long-term success. When I get to that place, they're not going to do the things that y'all doing. But right now, I know what season I'm in. I know what God got me at. So it's the foundation I'm putting together.
Yeah.
So I can't do the things y'all doing right now. I mean, it's all love, but you know where you're going and you know what it takes to get there.
Right.
So you have to know what it's all about and put in the work. So I know you're into the finance. What else things you looking at getting into business wise?
Well, so I look at where we're at right now. You guys. I ran into a lady the other day. She's like this serial entrepreneur, and it's so funny because I look at it like you're Jill or a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So my focus right now is to build my Mississippi River. If you ever see the Mississippi River, it's this long stream that goes down all the way till it gets to the end. And at the end, there's a mouth, right, where there's a bunch of streams that go off. So for me, right now, I stay in my lane right now. I don't focus on anything that's not what I do currently. Maybe long term, like my wife, she's been in property management. So long term, maybe I'll buy multifamily homes and bunch of properties and let her run that whole division of our corporation as a family. I want to employ my little sister wants to be a realtor. My father wants to be he wants to do sports betting when he gets done dealing with all the stuff that he's dealing with, but he wants to do like his own podcast and all that type of stuff. And I love sports. So I give him advice. I don't put any of my money into any of that stuff. I don't think that's. But he's grown, so he can make whatever decisions he wants. I've seen people hit it pretty big with some of that stuff. I think it's an interesting way of doing thing. But that's his lane. So I want to be able to facilitate letting everybody in my family do what they want to do. But I also I'm like very focused on where I'm at currently, being in the financial services industry, building an agency, getting to a certain point, and then we'll make moves from there.
Hey, that's what's up. Having that mindset that everybody, especially about your family, want to succeed, and everybody have these dreams and they have these expectations for themselves. And them type of people that you want to be associated with and be around. That hey, I want to make this what I want to do. This what I put my mind to. And whatever you do, just put in 1,000% in all that you do. And then just keep working at it, and eventually you'll see the fruits of your labor and stay consistent with it as well. So I know you're a U.S. gold medalist.
Yeah.
You was in the Olympics. How did that all come about with that experience being a U.S. gold medalist?
You just go to the right meets, man. I'm very fortunate. Katrina Bendel was my coach in high school. And with Miss Katrina, she saw that I was fast, but she was the X factor as far as pushing me to be the best that I could be. I'll never take credit away from her with that piece. I did work hard for her, but she pushed me to be my greatest. I think sometimes, you have everything that you need, but the biggest piece that you're missing, business, athletics, whatever, is a mentor. And so in track, she was everything. I think she competed at the University of Vanderbilt as a heptathlete. So she's just a beast, monster. Knew what it took to be the best. Knew what it took to get your body right, and she helped me peak at the right point. Because I went from, at all season we ran 49 seconds. That same season where we ended up going, ran for Team USA. All season we ran 49 seconds. And then for like 5 weeks in a row, we dropped time. We went from 49 to 48, 48 to 47, 47 and a half, 47 and a half to 47 flat, 47 flat to 46 5, 46 5, 46 flat, 46 flat, 45 2. That was like all in like a 6-7 week period. And if you look at it, you're like, how the heck did he do that? But we were ready for it. We had trained for it all season. And then she was like, hey, here's what we're gonna do at this meeting. We flipped the switch. And boom, it took off. So being able to run for Team USA is an honor, man. Like I love this country. I know there's a lot of people that talk trash about our country and talk trash about everything that it is, and it's crazy to think like that it has to be this. We can have a difference of opinion, but love our country. God has His hands on America. We're the youngest country established wise with the government in the world, but we're also the wealthiest, right? So, you think about the unique opportunity of what we can continue to go do if we, as a country, come together and do certain things. So back to the Team USA thing, it was such an honor to run for our country and to continue to put on for the legacy of Team USA. And yeah, man, we got a gold. I was very fortunate. I'm thankful. Great teammates, great time. I was the only one that was out of high school. The rest of them were like, early college. So, then you look at it, paves the way for kids like this new kid, Quincy Wilson, who's about to go run at the Olympics as well. He's 16 years old, right? And he was running with grown men at the Olympic trials. So, it was humbling experience. Obviously, for my sports career, I got injuries and other things like that didn't allow me to keep going. But whether I was there or I was not, I know that track taught me a lot about what it means to run your race. And so, no matter what happens, no matter what's happening around me, no matter who it is that comes about, I run my race.
Yeah, and I know now you are coaching others. Now you're a coach yourself, you would per se, because you're coaching people that's coming on the ranks within you. How's that being as well, coaching others that you are coaching now, with coaching other individuals?
Yeah,
I seeing the best in them.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think it's interesting because I have people on my team that have kids my age, right? So that's it's interesting to be in a position where you are mentoring others, because whenever you're mentoring others, people have come into an agreement to listen to something that you've done in order to advance their life, and that takes a lot. But really, what it truly takes is you deciding to be disciplined at your development of who you are. So as someone that's leading others, I can't stay stagnant in my growth, or I stagnate my organization, right? So for me, I look at it like leading people. It's a privilege. It's an honor. And I run as hard as I can every single day to be the best version of myself, right? And it has no. It's ever rewarding, because you look at what it does for their families. Like you said, Isaiah is the one that connected us. Isaiah, I trained her mentor, you know, and his name is Mikel Taylor. Mikel, I met through a guy that my wife met on social media that I mentored as well. And I look at what ended up transpiring with Mikel and his family.
Oh yeah, good guy.
They were able to, you know, absolutely transcend everything. He's the dude from, you know, Slidell, Louisiana, you know, that didn't know a lick about anything when it came to money and finances. And so, you know, you look at what he's been able to do, it's an honor. Now I don't look at, oh, how much money am I making now off of my organization? And I look at how much my guys are making and how much their lives are changing as a scope or a measurement of success. So that's the way that I'm like, okay, you know, we're doing this, we're doing good here. So mentoring people, man, like I said, I don't take it for granted. It's an honor. But one person said this one time. I think it was my aunt corrected my uncle. My uncle was like, "Oh, Lex was always meant to be a great athlete." And my aunt was like, "No, he was always meant to be a great leader."
That's it.
And you know, God, I mean, it wasn't in athletics. I've been captains on teams before. I've always been a vocal leader. I've always been somebody that when I was playing ball, I gave it my best, and then I challenged people to be better than what they were. You know, but you know, that all transitioned into where we are today, where we're leading other people and we're teaching other people how to go get the recognition, how to go do the different things, how to go and be the best version of themselves that they could possibly be. So
that's it, because we all know that greatness was already on the inside of us, because God put it there. Now it's up to us to bring it out,
right,
and bring it to the forefront and bring it here on the earth, that we be a representation of it, because the Bible tells that we are the light of the world. So if we're not being that light, how people gonna see? How they gonna know where to go? We're not being that light to them, being that pathway to them as well. And I know I was watching the Last Dance documentary, even though I've seen it before. It was always good to go and watch these documentaries on Netflix.
Oh yeah, no, I'm you'd be shocked, man. I watch these documentaries while I make calls, while I do all types of stuff. Like I have my little setup. I'll put one monitor here and one monitor here, and have it going. I'm sitting there dialing phone numbers and stuff like that. But you know,
yeah, because I was watching the Last Dance, and when Michael Jordan first came into the league, and before Phil Jackson came along, and of course you had Doug Collins being the coach, and the whole system was designed around Jordan. We know that Jordan couldn't get past the Boston Celtics. He was struggling against the bad boy Pistons. So Phil came in, and Phil helped him change philosophy. Like, in order for you, you got the scoring titles, things like that, but in order for you to start winning championships, you're going to have to trust your teammates.
right.
Because Jordan was all about winning. He bought into the philosophy, the triangle course, start winning 6 championships. But Jordan had to be willing to change his philosophy. Yeah, they designed the offense around you, but we see it's not getting you nowhere. You just get knocked out the playoffs. But if you just trust your teammates, and when you trust your teammates, they can help you reach your ultimate goal.
Right.
And that's why we're taking out of it. It's like, okay, I got to change the way I think, change my philosophy. Okay, my results are not getting me nowhere. But okay, you have this proven system that you see that's going to help you win. Now, I'm going to help you win. All you have to do is follow the system I put in place.
Yep. 100%, man. 100%. Yeah, I mean, in entrepreneurship, that's the biggest thing that people lack is systems. But with our company and how we do things, it's the ultimate system, man. All you have to do is apply discipline to it, and you can have exactly what you want to have. Whatever it is that you want, you can have it. There's no, height too high. There's no depth too deep. There's no nothing that you can't do if you're disciplined. The challenge is back to that 90-10, right? 10% of people are going to have the discipline to be able to go after the life that they actually desire and want. 90% will say they'll do it, but they won't do it. So
that's true. And also, we got to get comment. Big shout out to Miss Jones, of course. She said, I love the segment, and I believe majorities are born leaders. I watched a documentary the other day. basketball player from Africa, Greece, and played for the Bucks. An amazing story, leadership, and optimism. Reason why would stay the course to a winning stage or not consistently is important.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you learn. I enjoy watching documentaries too because you get a lot from these documentaries. Um, it's just the message behind it, especially if you watch the movies. You get some out of movies too. Just don't watch the movie, but get the storyline
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
the movie because
Yeah.
your mentor, your coach will say, "Hey, I want you to watch this particular movie."
Yeah.
Why I gotta watch this movie for? It's just a movie. No, I want you to watch it because I want you to see the messages in this movie.
Yeah, I
And
think
once you
it's
catch the
important
message, go ahead.
when you're doing that as a leader. I think it's important to like do like a movie night with your team. Like, hey,
Mhm.
we're gonna watch this movie. There's a few of them right now. Like right now, we're and Miss D Jones. Yeah, that's Giannis Antetokounmpo, by the way. Just a shout out to what you were talking about, the Greek freak.
Mhm.
But like right now, we're getting into a space where here in Dallas, we're developing an agency that's just getting bigger and bigger, right? You know, we got two brokers that just came about from our organization, right? Jose Valles and Susana, and then McKean and Akiva, right? And I look at because of the footprint we're putting here, what's starting to happen. I'm excited about this next wave, but we're gonna do movie nights. Like we'll watch the documentary if you've never seen it, The Redeem Team. We'll go do like
Okay.
a getaway at like a Airbnb and do like a mastermind event.
That's it.
There's another one that I want to do with the team. There's two of them. The Greatest Showman, right? The dude that plays Wolverine, I think it's Hugh something.
Hugh Jackman. Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. That's a crazy movie. Like if you're an entrepreneur and you look at like how to build a company and the way that you go through like the highs and the lows. And then there's a movie called Secretariat that's like that you can relate to your bit. It's crazy. You're right. There's so many things you could do with a storyline and you know how you do things and stuff like that. So it's there's a lot of hidden gems inside of movies and inside of books. Obviously books more frequently than movies, but there are some movies that really have a lot of value that you can go on.
Right. That's what it's all about, Alexis. It's all about training individual mentally. 'Cause we know everything starts within the mind. You know, even the Apostle Paul tells us, "Do not be conformed to this mind. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind. That we may know the good and acceptable will." So we know everything is a mind. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna sit. In other words, I'm gonna break you all the way down. I'm going all your beliefs, all your habits that you was taught. We're gonna clean all that up, which we know it takes a while. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna break you all the way down, and I'm gonna build you back up mentally. If that makes sense, from the inside. It's not the outside, but I'm gonna build you up from the inside.
Right.
And once I complete you on the inside, it's gonna reflect on the outside.
Yeah,
That's why I got out when I was listening to you talk.
That's a principle from a book. Secret, and I always refer back to books. But Secrets to the Millionaire Mind, it says, "My inner world creates my outer world." So what goes on, right? And if you ever want to change the fruits on a tree, you have to change the roots. You can't change the fruit and expect the roots to change. If you change the roots, though, the fruit will change. So, yeah, inside of you, and people have to be willing. Somebody said that one of the guys that's one of our mentors, he's in Atlanta. His name is Ellis. Ellis said you have to be willing to empty your cup, because like you might come in, like you might come into our organization, you might have made six figures, maybe multiple six figures, but you're still here for a reason, right? You need to empty your cup because this game is different. What I do is different. How I approach leadership and developing people is different than what you normally see. So, yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing for sure.
Oh man, it always is. I know we're pressed for time. I know you're a very productive man. I don't want to hold you up. I know you got to stay ahead of you. So before we get ready to leave, sir, do you have any words of advice, any signs of wisdom? Also, plugging your information for everyone to start following you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave this the last time I spoke on the pod, and I always say it whenever I'm talking to somebody. Be mindful of who you take advice from. If the people that you take advice from don't have the life, or that you're hearing advice from don't have the life that you want, don't take it. And I'll give you a case in point. My father told me 5 years ago to stop in the financial services industry. And I respectfully told him, Dad, I love you, I honor you, and I praise you. And you don't have the life that I want, but these couples in this company do. So I'm going to follow the things that they say, and I'm going to build a life that you're going to be proud of. And nowadays, my dad tells me, son, I'm so proud of you. You kept going, you do it, yada, yada, yada. And that's all good. And like I said, it's never been anything of disrespect or not having any love for my father. It was always like, hey, Dad, this is what it is. This is what it's not. I'm going to go and I'm going to lead a path that allows us to go have the life that we want rather than the one that we don't. Right. So that's the advice. Take advice from those who have the life that you want, even if it's not people that you grew up with, that you spend a lot of time with, that aren't your parents, that aren't your grandparents. If you're going and doing something, whatever it is, if your thing is real estate or solar or doing a podcast or YouTube streaming or Instagram or whatever whatever you got going on. There's so many ways to make money nowadays. However you're making money, if you want to do it and you're going to be disciplined to it, don't take advice from those that don't have the life that you want. Take advice from those that have the life that you want. And
most definitely.
You can tap me on Instagram. It's very simple to find me. Alexis M Robinson 0112. And Facebook, it's Alexis Robinson. Our profile photos. You can see on Facebook. It's the same thing. You'd be following me because I have a business mine is set up like that. TikTok is probably the same thing. And if anybody wants to email me or have any questions, I can go like this. Join the chat.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on a second.
It'll take time.
Connect. Let's choose my email.
All right, nah, you good. You
Okay.
good. Yeah, while you doing that, we'll do a quick commercial break while you're doing that, and we're gonna be right back.
Yep.
I've always been told that I'm too small, I'm not big enough, I'm not fast enough, I don't have what it takes. I prepare so no one can take what is mine. No one can replace my mind, my heart. To be the best and stay there, sweat is necessary. I'm older, of course I'm older. That's the beauty of it. 16 years plus. Different level of wisdom, different level of understanding, different level of punishment. I want to live long after my records have fallen, long after my rings have tarnished. And whatever you got to do to make sure you chase your legacy every second of your life. Will you be remembered? How would you be remembered? Why wouldn't you fight for the greatest achievement ever? Leave your mark to endure forever.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back here on the Walking This Way Impact Voice podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr., along with my guest, U.S. gold medalist, turned entrepreneur, Alexis Robinson here in DF Dub. Great information. Like I said, I appreciate you, Alexis, for coming on. Like I know you're a very productive man. Also, if y'all want to reach out to Alexis, his information is in the comment section. So go ahead and make that happen. Reach out to him, start following him. He has a lot of great information on his social media sites to get you, educate you, motivate you, but most important, to hold you accountable when you catch this great information on his social media sites. So y'all go ahead and get with him today and make it happen. Like I said, we were out this thing. Big shout out. Who we got? Big shout out to my twin, of course, in the comment section. Big shout out to her, my birthday twin, both born on April 23rd. So big shout out to her. She said salute in the comment section. Like I said, man, we out this thing. Want y'all to have a great morning. I will be back here tonight at 7:30. I'll be interviewing a young lady who won a contest this past Saturday. She won $1,000 for her sales, for her pitch for her business. So she's gonna be on tonight at 7:30. So y'all tune in to listen to her story that led up to her winning the contest. So I'm looking forward to that tonight. Big shout out to Miss Jones, Miss D, of course, Miss Jones also. And everybody that tuned in, like I said, we out this thing. Man, y'all have a great day. One more, anything, unless you want to leave, you good. Anything else you want to leave, go leave.
Go make today the best day of your life.
Hey, that's it. So get off your butt, make something happen. Don't wild in it. Just make something happen. Whatever you do, just make something happen. And I will see y'all tonight. Peace, everybody.